Hello, hello. Happy Thursday. Hope you're well. Network marketing is thriving and growing and succeeding around the world. It is, however, a tale of two cities. There are groups that are adapting and adjusting to the world around them, and there are groups who are resisting the world around them and not adapting. And the ones that aren't adapting in today's world, they're just having a harder time. Um, what I would wish for you is that you don't have such a hard time. If you can learn how to adapt, how to turn inspiration into action, how to turn the action into results, that's the name of the game. I was watching earlier on CNBC, they were talking about what's the next big thing that's going to change our lives and what are companies being forced to do, not forced to do, but kind of forced to do in order to stay relevant. And it was a very interesting conversation. They said something like 20 years ago, the average length of time a company would spend on the S&P 500 was like 60 years. Now it's like 12 years. Why? Because you better innovate. You better come up with some fresh ideas. You might better come up with some new ways of doing things. And the big companies, the Googles, the Facebooks, the Amazons, or whatever, they are paddling as fast as they can so they can stay relevant with whatever new is coming down the road. And I think we all need to do the same thing. How do we stay relevant to what's going on today? How do we utilize word of mouth advertising in order to be able to educate the public on products and services that matter to us? How do we find creative ways to connect and to educate the consumer? How do we do all that stuff? My name is Eric Worre. I'm here at Network Marketing Pro, and today I just want to share some ideas with you, and I have a very special guest. Her name is Susan Johnson. She's going to be joining us in just a moment, and we're going to be just talking about some ideas on how you can do better. So as we're starting this off, welcome. And if you'd like to learn how to do a little bit better in your network marketing business, throw a number 1 into the comments. I want to see who's serious about growing and doing something. And also, if you know somebody that could benefit from learning how to do better, smash that share button and let people know that we're live, whether you're watching live or replay, that we are on and we're here to be able to bring some value to you. So let me bring in Susan. Hold on. Susan Johnson.
Good morning. Hello.
How are you? Where are you
great.
Connecting from today?
I'm in Bend, Oregon, in the Pacific Northwest.
I was just in Oregon. Did you know that?
What? No, and you didn't call me?
I know. Let me tell you what town I was in.
Obviously wasn't Bend, because you wouldn't have to remember. It would be you'd love it and you wouldn't forget
it. I landed it in McMinnville.
Oh, that's beautiful wine country.
Yeah, I guess.
So did you not go wine tasting?
I think it was Eugene.
Okay, it's not the probably best part of Oregon.
No, wasn't Eugene. But anyway, I have a cousin who is helping me build a 1965 Mustang Fastback, and he's been in that business for forever. So he's up there. So we went to go test drive the car. It was kind of fun to be able to do. So let me find. I'll find the town. Hold on. I was going to say
it's a little cooler in Oregon than Vegas, so I'm
a little bit. No, it was actually it was pretty similar. Newberg, Oregon, which is 15 minutes from McMinnville. So anyway, for those of you who are not from Oregon, you're just probably totally very inspiring. So Susan, why don't you tell everybody your story? How long you've been involved in network marketing, what's happened, and let's kick this off.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. So I started my network marketing journey about 7 years ago, actually October. So it would be 7 years this coming October. And I have a unique story. I was actually had a background in health. I'm a functional nutritional therapy practitioner. And my son, who was at the time 2 years old, was diagnosed with cancer. So it was probably the most tragic, humbling time of our life. It was devastating, as you can imagine. And so I closed my private practice and I was willing to do whatever it took to keep my baby healthy. And I was introduced to a product that somebody told me, you need to use this. This will help. And in this journey, this particular company that I'm with happened to have their convention. And most of you know, if you're in network marketing, the conventions are generally, well, first of all, it's a foundational part of your business. You should always be attending them virtually or in person or whatever that looks like. But the second thing is generally convention is for people who are doing the business, not really for product users. That's been my experience. And so I decided hesitantly to attend the convention just because I wanted to learn about these products because I wanted to help other cancer families. And I was desperate to help them have a tool that was working really well for our son. So I went to the convention and long story short, left totally intrigued and really captivated by the company and by the science and all of the things. And so that began my journey. I really took this product and had an experience, had a story with it, and turned it into a business that now, of course, is a 7-figure business, have a team of about 30,000 people. And I'm not stopping. Actually, was very thankful to have Eric come into my life. Before he knew he was in my life, my husband was in law enforcement, and we had just begun our journey in network marketing. We took a road trip to Vegas, actually, and just a mom-dad getaway while our sons, we went through chemotherapy every day for about 3.5 years with our baby. And so, as you can imagine, it was a really stressful time to also be building a business, but it was a helpful distraction to me. I actually built to the top of my company in a really fast period of time because I was so motivated to help people. But we were held up a little bit in the beginning. We were held up by this idea that I was in an MLM. And again, my husband being in law enforcement, he was taught to look for a job, not for an opportunity, right? He was taught to trade your dollars for hours. And so he was questioning a little bit. I was questioning a little bit. I didn't know what to say to people when they were like, hey, you're in one of those pyramid things, right? And we've all heard it. So somebody had suggested, hey, have you heard of Eric Worre? He wrote a book called GoPro. So we decided to download the audio and we listened to it on our drive to Vegas. And that changed everything as far as our perception of what I was stepping into and the opportunity this was. In fact, I would say, and my husband would agree, that that was the moment that he actually started to dream again, listening to that book and started to realize, like, wow, there is so much more out there. So that was my introduction to Eric. And then, of course, became a huge fan of what he teaches and joined his mastermind this last year. But it was about 4 years ago, August, that my husband retired from law enforcement and he walked away from a very secure job of what the world would say, right? And we stay home as a family. My son is now cancer free. We have a nonprofit that helps teach other families how to do this and how to thrive through cancer. But more than anything, this whole network marketing opportunity for me, it's not just provided a healthy life for my son. We have helped thousands of kids around the world thrive through cancer. And of course, just with our product and the company and the 30,000 customers that I have, I can't even begin to imagine my life without this. I can't imagine.
How cool is that? And we are talking with Season Johnson. Just so you know, I can't figure out why her name's not coming up in the little box, but Season Johnson, and good friend, and what an inspirational story to be able to not only create an income for yourself and for your family, but to be able to contribute to the lives of others through charitable efforts and awareness, and also to be able to help people with the products and services, and then also be able to share that same vehicle with other people. I wasn't going to talk about this today, but I had a conversation last night. There's a documentary out currently that takes a shot at network marketing pretty hard. And one company in particular, I won't mention the company, but you say you were trying to figure out what's the real part of this business and what's the pyramid side of this business? Where does that, image come from? How do you get your head around that? You say the GoPro book helped you some in being able to kind of frame that and understand the regular business. But for anybody who's has a seed of doubt
Hmm.
in our profession, what words of advice do you have for them, or from your experience, what could you share with them that might help them?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, actually, my husband's one that brought this up to me. He said, "Well, you know what a pyramid scheme is, Susan? It's like it's what I'm in. It's law enforcement, and not that it's negative. Here's the thing: when we talk about well, the scheme is negative, but pyramid is not. So if we're looking at structure, and that's where we get this idea of a pyramid scheme, right? People think there's only one person at the top, and all these other people down here do nothing or earn nothing, right? Well, let's look at law enforcement. You have either a chief or a captain up here, and then you have some commanding officers, and then you have a few other important people. And then the majority of the bottom are your road dogs, your law enforcement officers who are out on the road. But what's interesting is the only way that these large people on the bottom can work their way up to become the chief officer or the highest in command is through politics, through interviews, through testing, through a certain amount of years. So I don't know, but I feel like that's a little bit more of a pyramid and maybe even a scheme than having an opportunity like network marketing where it's a total equal playing field. I did not have to have any degree, any business experience. I didn't have to interview with anybody. I didn't have to work my way to the top by sweet talking people. I was able to start an equal playing field as the person who had been doing it for 5 years and ended up actually surpassing quite a few of them. Because again, it came back to I had a product that I believed in and I was really good at telling stories.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I wish these documentary people would call me. I
I
wish
know.
they would say, "Can we come interview you?" They never do.
No.
I wish NPR, when they have their roundtable discussions about this, would say, "Let's talk to this guy who's actually been in this for 34 years." But they just never do. They always have some, whatever, ragtag panel that doesn't know two things about our profession. But here's the deal. Here's the deal. Guess where this company got in trouble? Not being professional, overhyping the opportunity,
Yep.
changing. I mean, see, this is very rare. This company in today's world. Susan, what does it cost for somebody to join your company, as an example?
$35.
$35. And if they want to get a little bit of product or whatever, what's a typical product
I would
order?
say the average starting kit would be about $150.
$150. And if it doesn't work out for them, can they send their product back after a year or whatever? Can they get a refund of their money?
Some of their product they could get a refund, but most of it, no, but they'd never be
They
charged
would
again.
use it, right? They
They'd
wouldn't be
use
charged
it
again.
and
Yeah.
there's no requirements for them. They're not like giving up their firstborn and locked in for the
Right.
rest of their life.
So this company, their packages started at $5,000 worth of a bunch of stuff that they would put in their garage or whatever to sell later to other people. A lot of people were buying $10,000 and $15,000, and they were told that they could return it anytime they wanted. And then they changed the rules halfway through and said you can't return it. So
Oh,
they had huge growth, and a lot of people upset because they set this expectation that everybody's going to get rich and just come on in, product sells itself, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. People in network marketing like to tell everybody else it's easy. It's not easy. It's the same as any other entrepreneurial business. It's challenging, it's emotional, it's tough, it's lonely. I mean, but you can have a low price of entry, even for $5,000 is a low price of entry for a business, even
mhm.
though most network marketing companies are far less than 1,000. Your downside is extraordinarily low and your upside is enormous. That doesn't mean it's easy. And that doesn't mean everybody's going to win. And that doesn't mean, what I like to tell people, what should a success rate for a $35 business be? How many of
Right.
those people should go to the top? The ones that work their butts off, the ones that go crazy, the ones that really become determined and turn their inspiration into action, those are the ones that do that. But look, there's always gonna be, like, Herbalife took a hit couple years back, still doing phenomenally great. Different companies take a hit, but at the same time, what was it? Facebook paid an $800 million fine last week.
That's awesome. I didn't know
I
that.
mean, it's just like there's so many companies, but people love to take shots at what it is that we do.
Yep.
It's kind of an easy thing, but we do it to ourselves a bit. You know, we
Yeah.
we we paint the picture that it's free money, and we shouldn't do that. It's hard work, but it's worth it. That's the message. Okay,
Yeah.
hard work, worth it. Bust your ass, make up in lack of investment in your pure effort, and then you can have more success than the average. What I tell people all the time: network marketing isn't perfect, but it is better. It's better for the average person to be able to express their entrepreneurial hopes and dreams. So, season, talk about turning inspiration into action. Talk
Yeah.
about how you can, because people here, if you're inspired, if you want to go build a business, you want to go do that, put a number 5 into the comments if you're inspired. And for some of you, you might be inspired, but you can't figure out a way to get moving and to get unstuck. So, season, talk about that and how you've done it, how you've helped other people do it, and what they can do in order to be able to succeed.
Yeah, absolutely. So the idea of turning inspiration into action really came from um, when we attend company events. We just had our company convention, and people come home and they're inspired. They're super inspired. They're inspired about the product. They're inspired about the business. They're inspired about helping people. They're inspired about the company, right? Well, what we often see is only about 10% of those people, maybe 20, will come back and take that inspiration and turn it into action. And that's where you actually get paid in return for your actions. So this is so important. It's funny, I was actually sharing, I was at Eric's house a few weeks ago with a group of my team members, and I was going to talk about your why, finding your why. This is something that's over talked about in network marketing. And I have a little bit of a unique twist on it, but I was actually reminded that that's awesome. That's great. The why is important. Eric even called me out on it. He's like, but we actually have to have the action. That's really important. So you might be inspired right now, like Eric asked. You're wanting to start a business. You might have just come back from your company convention, or you have a product launch that you're pumped on. So what are we going to do to turn that excitement and inspiration into action? I think there's two parts to this, and there may be more, but I just want to touch on two. And so one of the things I want to start off by explaining is we know from a clinical perspective that when you set out on a path toward a goal, it actually provides positive emotion. And when we have positive emotion, we have a dopamine release, and this is an awesome cycle of increasing your confidence and loving your life and loving what you do. So when we set out a path toward a goal, we have positive emotion. But here's where I want to take this just a step further. And don't worry, we're not going to talk about science this whole time. I just want to set the tone. There's there's good biological evidence that if you are willing to put yourself in a new situation, a new challenge, that new genes code for new proteins. Okay, so what does this mean? This actually just means that you are building your neural and nervous system structures. So again, that's as sciencey as we're going to get. But the reason I think this is important is there is actually something biologically happening when you are putting yourself into new situations. So what could that look like then? If we're constantly putting ourselves into new situations, that means that we're constantly finding new potential that we have that's actually locked in our genetic code. And so I want you to think about it this way. With my kids, we ski. We live in the mountains. My kids are 10 and 12, and they can ski big mountain with anybody, with the best of them. But am I going to trust them with the big things like skiing the mountain by themselves? Now they have to go in a group, but without us, and going off the back end, getting some fresh powder, if they can't first show me that they can accomplish the little things? So for example, if we're getting loaded up to go to the mountain, which we go about 4 days a week in the winter, if they can't put their ski boots on, get their poles and their skis in the car, they can't even handle that. Do you think I'm going to allow them and give them the opportunity to take the responsibility of going skiing backcountry by themselves or with their friends? No, because first they have to accomplish the little things to be able to set out and do the big things. And so if we look at from a biological perspective that we actually are capable of continuing to grow our neural and nervous system structures by challenging ourselves and by taking on bigger and bigger new situations. I mean, think about the potential that has. So the reason I preface with this is because this goes into the first part of turning your inspiration into action. It's starting with the small things. Starting with the small, simple tasks. And actually, if you've followed Eric for a while, I learned this from him. This is not my idea. It's the daily mode of operations, the DMO. And so what I like to teach my team, and this is something that I've implemented actually more recently and really being a core part of what I teach a leader when they come with me and they say, I want to do this, is I want this, when you first start your business, I want these basic activities. They're going to prepare you to take on bigger and bigger and bigger actions. It's going to prepare me to be able to trust you with more responsibility, right? So the 5 things that you want to have in your daily method or daily mode of operation, whatever you want to call it: personal development, using the product, sharing the business, and promoting an event. Those are 5 basic things. Now, this, Eric may disagree with me on this, but what I like to tell people in the beginning is that I want your DMOs to be done within an hour total when you're first brand new to the business. Because like Eric shared earlier, this isn't easy, but it can be simple. It can be simple to build a network marketing business if we're good at following steps, getting things done, and if we're teachable. But sometimes we overcomplicate it. So these 5 things, I want you to challenge yourself to get them done in an hour and start today. Don't wait till tomorrow. Best time to start was actually yesterday. So the second best time is right now. So I want you to take these 5 things and I want you to try to fit them into an hour. And so I'm going to give you an idea of what to do with each of them. Okay, so we're going to break down the 5 things. Remember, personal development, using the product, sharing the business, and promoting an event. So number 1, personal development. You need to be feeding your soul. You need to be fueling your soul, because when you're better, you can serve better. When you're confident, when you're cared for, you can show up and serve the world better. When my son was going through cancer treatment, I mean, those 3.5 years, yes, I built to the top of my company. I would do Zoom calls in the waiting room of him getting chemotherapy put into his spine, waiting for the nurse to call me in to come in when he was waking up from anesthesia. I was putting in the hours. I was building in the deep, dark places. But you know what I wasn't doing really well? I wasn't working on personal development because I didn't have the capacity. I didn't think I did. And I paid for it. After he came into remission, I had about 6 months of just total fatigue and adrenal fatigue and all of the things. So I learned the hard way, and I don't want you to. You can't pour from an empty cup. You've heard that a million times. So what if you took your alarm and tomorrow you set your alarm for 10 minutes earlier? It's just 10 minutes earlier. And I want you to download one of these 2 free apps on your phone. One's called Headspace. It's a meditation app. One's called Soul Space. It's a Christian-based meditation app. Choose whichever one you want. And I want you to set your alarm for 10 minutes earlier. And I want you to take 10 minutes and be in quiet meditation, prayer, gratitude journaling, something that is going to start your day with soul care, not starting your day on social media or not starting your day looking at Apple News, which, by the way, did you know you can delete the Apple News off your phone? That is an assignment I want to give to you, is delete Apple News off your phone. Because I know what it's like. I mean, I haven't had it on my phone for years, but my husband does. And he fills me in on what I need to know. But I know what it's like to open your phone and you see the shit, excuse my French, going down in the world. That's not French, by the way. Somebody told me that. I apologize to anybody that's French. So delete Apple News off your phone, but focus on soul care. Okay, so you're going to set your alarm 10 minutes early tomorrow, and you're going to download a meditation app, spend time gratitude journaling, something that is going to fill you up. That's personally developing you. And remember, when you do things that are new and you put yourself in a new situation, new gene codes for new proteins are being built. That's amazing. Okay, so the next thing is using your product. This is actually really surprising to me that so many people, when they come to me and they say, Season, I'm stuck in my business, I ask them, when was the last time you used the product? And if you ask yourself that, if you're in a place right now, in fact, put a 2 in the comments, put a 2 if you're feeling stuck in your business right now, you're just feeling stuck. You're feeling like, I need something to pull me out of this. I encourage you to get back to the basics and use your product. Use it, because we're professional storytellers. That's what we are. We sell our product through telling stories. That's why I have the majority of my team are moms that have children with cancer, because I told my story of where I was before, how the product came into my life, and where I'm at now. How in the world would I be able to tell that story if I wasn't using the product? And so sometimes we have to step all the way back to pulling out that product, putting it on, taking it in, whatever it is that you sell, use the product. And that should take you 5 minutes. I don't know what your product is, but it should take you no more than 5 minutes to use the product, because when you use it, you're going to constantly have new stories. And the next thing is share the business. Oh, I'm sorry, actually sharing the product. I missed that part. Sharing the product. So now you've used your product. I promise you, if you get into a habit of using your product throughout the day, okay, throughout the day, you use your product throughout every single day. One time a day, you're going to come up with a new story, and you're going to be able to share that product or share that product story. So what would be an example of how you can share a product? And remember, we're trying to accomplish this when you're first starting your business, or maybe you're restarting, within an hour's period of time. I will say that my daily method of operation takes about 5 hours, but I can be trusted with more because I started with less. I first accomplished those little tasks, and then I've been able to grow and stretch and stretch. And I've been able to actually find more of me in my genetic code, right? Because I've constantly built upon what I'm doing. So I want this to take place in an hour. So how would you share your product simply and efficiently? You could certainly do it on social media, but everybody's doing it on social media. So I want you to think of a unique way you can share your product. Not that it's bad. In fact, I build my business on social media as well as in person. But what's a unique way you can do it? What if you picked up the phone and you texted a local person in your town that has a business, and you said, hey, would you be okay if I came into your store or your place at some point in the next week? And I just had a table set up, and I showed the product that I have, and I'm not going to necessarily have, cash exchange in front of your store, but I'd love to just be able to talk to people about what I do. That's so simple. I'm in the health field. I sell a health product. And so I love working with practitioners like chiropractors and natural doctors, where I can go in and talk to people. Maybe you share the product by you simply send a text to a friend that you care about and say, hey, I just had an experience that I wanted to tell you about because it reminded me of you. You've been talking about headaches and I used this and it helped. Okay, so share the product. The next thing is share the business. This is something, and Eric would tell me, that I know for me, and even for my company, we have a hard time with, we need to do better at. Is sharing the business. We're afraid, but why are we afraid? It's because it's uncomfortable. But remember, when you get uncomfortable and you do things that are hard, more of you gets unlocked in your genetic code. So if we come back to sharing the business, maybe one of the fears you have of sharing the business is because you think people are going to think of a pyramid scheme. Well, I already broke that down for you. You're not in a pyramid scheme. You're an equal playing field with the top player in your company. There is no difference between you and them, except they got way more no's than you. That's all. They talked to more people and they got more no's. That's the only difference between you and them. So there's no pyramid involved. And if you haven't read GoPro, you need to download the audiobook or purchase the book and read GoPro. That will help you reframe your mindset around this business and why it is better. Network marketing is a better way. So if we're talking about sharing the business, how could you do that? One of my favorite ways to share the business is to ask people to do it with me. And I'll tell you what I say, okay? This is what I say. If I'm reaching out to somebody, now I don't ask people that I haven't been in relationship with in some form or another, or been in communication with. But when I do reach out to somebody, I just did this the other day. I have a friend on social media that I follow. We were connected years ago. And I sent her an audio message. I didn't want to type it. I want it to be as personal as possible. And on audio, I said to her, hey, I can't let another day go by without reaching out to you. You've been on my mind, and I just have to compliment you on what I see you doing. You show up so well in this space. You bring hope, you educate. I love following you. What I would also love is to talk to you about what I do. I think it would be so fun to partner together. Would you be interested in getting on a call for about 5 to 10 minutes to just chatting through what I do and how you can be involved? So here's the deal though. I get ghosted all the time, all the time. And I'm the top earner in my company. I get ghosted all the time. I get no's often, but I just don't stop. So share the business. Maybe you share it with a friend that you've been wanting to talk to and you just haven't had the nerve. Now, the next piece is promoting an event. Now, I learned from the best. I learned this from Eric. Promoting an event is something that I understand very differently now. Promoting an event to me in the past would have been sending a text invitation, doing one post on social media, maybe sending a text out to my customers. I use a texting app. That would be promoting an event. Well, Eric taught me through actually GoPro, the GoPro event. It was the year before last. He taught me how to promote an event. And this is where, again, the top of your company, the difference between the top ranked leader in your company and those of you who are still building, they've learned to promote themselves and promote events. What this really means is talk about it until you're tired of hearing yourself talk about it. Do that. I just sold a course because as a practitioner, I work with a lot of cancer families, and so I have a few courses I sell outside of my business. And one of the things that I do is when I have a week launch, I'm selling a program, which is also another vehicle to drive people to my network marketing business. But I talk about it until I'm sick of seeing the posts that I'm putting up and I'm sick of hearing about it. My goal is I will talk about it so much that the people who really aren't interested are going to unfollow me because they're so tired of hearing about it. That's promoting an event. Many of you are thinking right now, okay, well, what event do I promote? Got to back up then. If you don't have an event to promote, that's not good. You should always have an event you are promoting to get people to come to learn about your product. We teach about our product.
And we'll tell them about an event in just a little bit.
Yeah, we will,
about the big event in just a little bit.
And that is an event that you will, by the way, want to promote. That was a game changer for my team in 2020, 2021. So promoting an event, have an event on your calendar at all times where you are inviting people to learn about your product. Partner with your cross-line, your downline, your upline, people that you can collaborate with. But you should every day promote an event to invite somebody to. And maybe that event is actually just your team business meeting. We do a weekly team business meeting. It's open to our whole team. That's an event you can promote. Maybe it's a class, promote that event, but you need to promote an event. Now, the next part, and I'll let Eric come on if he wants to add anything, but part 2 of turning your inspiration into action is actually asking for help. And this is something that is a really powerful piece of this business. And I want you to understand that before we jump into what this looks like, asking for help isn't giving up. It's actually refusing to give up. So how does this relate to your business? And how does this relate turning inspiration into action? Well, it's about accountability. And accountability is one of the most powerful pieces of your business because now you're learning to do the small things so that you can take on bigger things, so that you're taking all this inspiration that you have with you from your new product launch, from your convention, from Q4. This quarter 4 is sometimes some of the strongest months in our business. Now you're taking that inspiration, turning it into action. But guess what one of the biggest challenges of an entrepreneur is? It's being accountable to nobody else. So when your alarm goes off at 7 or 6 or whatever time you get up, if you don't get up, you don't have anybody you're clocking into. So who's going to know, right? Or if you don't get your DMO done, who's going to know? Isn't that a song? Who's going to know? Don't worry, I won't sing for you. But accountability is one of the most important pieces of growing. And I encourage you to think about when we're talking about accountability, I want you to think about the people who you are inspired by. I don't want you to just look at choosing accountability. And I'll give you some really specific tips on how to put together an accountability pod and how to make it really productive. But I want you to think of maybe 2 to 4 people who are inspiring, who you want to be around, who carry influence. Not people, you don't necessarily want to be an accountability. Don't do this, which we've all been tempted to do. Don't start the accountability group and pull your weakest links into it because you need them to be stronger. You need them to thrive so that your business benefits. That kind of an accountability group isn't as much for you as it is you're trying to kind of micromanage them. But remember, if you start something, you do it, and then you look back and see, is this working? You review it. And if it seems to be working for you, then you can duplicate this to your team. So then, of course, your weak links, we call them love legs in our team. We have other words for them too, but I won't use it on social media. But those weak links, you can then duplicate, tell them what you're doing and duplicate it out through your whole team. So what would an accountability group look like? My suggestion is 4 people is a great number. You get 4 people. You start either a group text or group Voxer, a group WhatsApp. These are all methods of communication. And you have a group thread. And here's what I want you guys to do with your accountability. Monday through Friday. I usually say Saturday and Sunday. You don't check in. You take the weekends off. Monday through Friday. By 10 a.m. your time, you text your group the 5 things you are going to get done that day. I'm going to give you some ideas of what those 5 things will be, okay? So by 10 a.m., you are texting your group the 5 things you're going to get done that day. By 10 p.m., you're texting your group, done. So you are now accountable to not only what you need to accomplish, but you're accountable to your group that you've gotten them done. And so you are checking in with somebody. What's really inspiring about this is if you choose a group that does inspire you, you're going to be inspired by their actions. And you're going to look at their things that they're doing each day on their 10, we call them 10 to 10 check-ins. And you're going to be like, ooh, I love what Tina just said. I'm going to do that tomorrow. That's a good idea. Now, what should those 5 things be? I'll give you an example. Some of you are going to be like, so is your DMO, like, is that just the 5? Do you want to scale your business? If the answer is yes, it's not that as all 5. That's 1. So if you want to scale your business, here's what I would say your 5 activities should be. Number 1 is to check off your daily method of operation. That's 1 task that you're sending to your accountability pod every day. Number 2 is 1 to 2 hours of recruiting. 1 to 2 hours of recruiting. And if you're like, I don't know where to start with that, Eric has all of the resources to help you with that. In fact, the event that he's doing at the end of this year, that will teach you all of the incredible things you need to know, but you can't wait till then. So you need to get started. So just go to his website and you'll find there's, is it how to recruit 20 people in 30 days? One of my favorite recruiting tools.
Yeah, I'll show them how to be able to get a whole bunch of stuff for free actually today.
Oh, perfect.
But go ahead and finish that up, and then I will talk about that. And then I want to get to Jamie Kern Lima. So
okay, perfect. Yeah. So last thing then with the accountability pods is your 5 things you're doing. 1 is daily method of operation. Now remember, this is not for a share. What I'm sharing with you is not for those of you who are just sharing your product. You're casual. You're just kind of hanging out. This type of an accountability with these types of actions, this is for somebody that wants to scale their business to a 6-7-figure business. Okay. So if this is starting to overwhelm you because you just have 5 hours a week, that's amazing that you have 5 hours a week to share your product. There's nothing wrong with that. But your daily method of operation will look a little bit different, as well as your 5 things you check in with your group. We'd scale it back quite a bit. So if you're wanting to scale your business and you want a 6-figure paycheck or a 7-figure paycheck, your 5 things, daily method of operation, 1 to 2 hours of recruiting a day. You should always have one of your things being a social media story, post, or live. And I would go as far as saying a daily live video. I've been doing daily live videos for about 4 months, and it is an incredible way to grow your market, but to become the expert. People look at me as the expert because I show up for them every day and I add value and I answer their questions. It's 30 minutes of my time to do a live Q&A. Okay, so social media, DMO, 2 hours of recruiting. The last two things I would say is find something specific that's happening in your business right now, in your company, that you need to work on. Maybe it's putting together an event for your team. Maybe it's planning a trip. We're talking about that in our mastermind, planning a trip to maybe go visit a local team that needs some support. So think about those 5 things. They have to be things that move your business forward. Check in with your accountability group. And then by the end of the day, check out. Those are the 2 things that I believe will help you turn your inspiration into action. Is your daily method of operation and accountability.
I love that so much. And look, DMO means daily method of operation. Just what is your routine? What is your simple things that you can do every day? And if you don't have 2 hours, do it in an hour. If you don't have an hour, do it in 30 minutes. I mean, what I've learned is this business can be built in 15-minute increments. Take 15 minutes out of your schedule, go do that 15 minutes, and then go do it again, then go do it again, then go do it again. Pretty soon you can take 10 hours a week and turn it into 40 different 15-minute activities that'll move your business forward. So GoPro is coming up December 3rd through the 5th. Everybody watching this needs to be a part of it. It's a 3-day virtual event delivered in a $20 million studio, delivered directly to you. Your face is going to be up on that screen. Your smiling face interacting with Tony Robbins and myself and the top people in network marketing and thought leaders from around the world. What's working amazing inside of network marketing. So let me give you a couple things on that. Because you're watching today, I want to give you a special offer. And then we're going to hear from a billionaire, Jamie Kern Lima, talking about how to turn whatever your passion is into a major, major enterprise. So stay tuned for that. But let me just give you quickly, GoPro's coming up December 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Okay. Tickets normally $497. You can get a ticket today for $197. And I will give you a complete power training masterclass collection, which is $3,200 worth of my courses for free if you get your ticket. And here's how easy it is to get your ticket. I mean, and those courses are 25 hours worth of courses, plus downloads, plus workbooks. I mean, some of the best stuff I've ever created. You'll get it all for free. So you can start working on those skills to be able to do better. But if you go to special.gopro2021.com or use the QR code like you've done in every restaurant to scan yourself to that link or take a picture of this offer is going to be available for a short period of time. I would encourage you to take advantage of it. So GoPro 2021, special.gopro2021.com. Take advantage of that. That 3-day event is going to be the largest and most powerful event in network marketing history. You need to be a part of it. It's going to be amazing. So,
can I say something about that, Eric?
Yeah, go ahead. And then I'll introduce Jamie Kern Lima.
I think it's super interesting for you guys to pay attention to what Eric is doing. So he's putting this training out at, first of all, at a ridiculous price, $197. But then what he did with intention is he wants you guys to come to this event so that you can scale your business and it can benefit you like it did our team and so many other teams. But here's what he did. He has this event that's going to give you tons of inspiration and also a ton of practical action steps. But he's providing you with thousands of dollars worth of material that then you can go into and start practicing those skills and using. So you cannot pass this up.
Yes. And if you already have your ticket, and you don't have, and you'd like to get those special bonus courses, go to that same link, scroll down, and you can get all of those courses, $3,200 worth of courses for $97. If you don't have a ticket yet, get your ticket for $197, and I will throw in this power training masterclass collection for you. All right. So can't make it much easier than that. You're either in or you're out. Figure out a way, make the decision. But let me introduce you to Jamie Kern Lima because she's an awesome lady. And check this out, and we'll be back as soon as she's done.
Hi, guys. I'm Jamie Kern Lima, co-founder of It Cosmetics. The most common question that I get asked is, how did you take an idea from your living room and turn it into $1 billion business? And how did you deal with all of the no's and the rejection and the underestimation? And really, how do you deal with self-doubt and not feeling qualified? So that's what I'm going to talk about today. And I'm going to share a little bit about how I overcame those things in order to, deal with all of the no's and all the rejection and all the people that said my idea was never going to work. And how I kind of went from that with literally almost no money and just kept going and turned something into a successful business that we're so blessed helps the lives of millions of people around the world. So I'm going to share that with you today, because here's the thing, like, if you have a dream on your heart, or you have an idea or a big goal or a big passion, or maybe you have a business right now, or you want to launch one, maybe you want to scale your business to be huge and you're just struggling going, how do I take it to the next level, right? And sometimes it's like, it seems like things just aren't going our way. And when that happens, it's so easy to have self-doubt take over. It's so easy to feel like, okay, maybe we're not qualified to do this. And that's the thing, is I feel like self-doubt kills more dreams than like anything else. So I'm going to share with you the one thing that changed everything for me in my journey, because I had this vision to create a company, It Cosmetics, where we shift culture in beauty, where we use, real women and men and use models that aren't airbrushed. And I really wanted to create products that worked for everyone and show images of models that were all ages and sizes and skin tones and skin challenges, the way I have skin challenges. So, started in our living room with close to no money and poured it all into product and just thought, this is so needed. This is going to change so many lives. And when I shared our product in the first several years of the company, everybody said no. So all of the department stores, all of the beauty experts, all the beauty retailers, all of them literally said, no, we don't think this idea is going to work. It's not the right fit for us. And it got really hard. I remember when we got down to under $1,000 in our bank account, and I would struggle every time I would get another no. I would struggle by thinking like, okay, maybe I'm just not qualified to create a successful beauty business. And, it's super hard when self-doubt kind of starts to take over in our heads. And here's the thing, right? So I believe, no matter what faith you are, no matter what faith you practice, if you have no faith at all, if you trust the universe, no matter what, I think all of us have a gut feeling, an intuition, right? This really strong gut. And for me, faith is super important in my life. And that's when I pray, I really feel the answers in my gut, right? Through my intuition. And I have learned that your gut is stronger than anyone else's advice. And every time I would hear another no and just start to doubt myself or feel like I wasn't qualified again, I would pray and I would listen to that gut feeling. And it kept telling me, like, you're supposed to do this. Like, it's not an accident. You have this idea or this vision to create this company. And so I would keep going and I would keep going. And, at the end of the day, like, I worked really hard. Yes, you have to work really, really hard. I didn't give up. But those two things, working really hard and not giving up, those are like the two bare minimum things that you need to do. The most critical thing I think that I did was I made this decision. No matter what, I was going to believe that I could, right? And I wasn't going to break that promise to myself. So every time Sephora would say no again, or Ulta would say no, or QVC would say no, or a department store, I would just go, you know what? It just means not yet. I would like decide in my mind that it was going to be a yes. And I just crystal clear made that decision that I was going to believe that I could. And, there were words that I called on that I'm going to share with you today. And again, when you look at all my best friends, you will see they all pray different. They don't look the same. They don't believe the same. And I love you all day long, no matter what. But again, my faith is super, super strong for me. And so there are these words I would always call upon that really help me, these famous words. And so I'm going to share those with you today. Because here's what I believe, so many of us, we have this like dream on our heart, right? And I think if you have a dream that you just can't shake and you just feel like you're supposed to do it, I think that that is part of your calling. And so these words that I would call upon would really help me when I would be struggling with self-doubt, or all those times where I just didn't feel qualified, or I started to just second guess everything. And the famous words go like this: God does not call the qualified, he qualifies the called. And I would call on those words so many times. And to me, what they mean is this, right? If you have that goal, that vision, that dream on your heart, I think that's part of your calling. And what this means to me is that you already have everything you need to accomplish your dream. It's already in you. Like, you're literally born with everything you need. God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called. So I believe that, that idea that, you have everything in you that you need. I think that one of our greatest missions in life, every single one of us, is to figure out how to believe that for ourselves. I think it's one of our greatest journeys. And let me just throw one more idea out there at you. Let's just say I'm wrong. Let's say you're not qualified, right? Let's say I'm wrong. Well, let me ask you this, imagine what would happen if you decided to believe you were anyway. Oh, right? So seriously, let's think about this for a minute. To me, it's truly the one thing that changed everything. And, year after year, we kept going. We got down to under $1,000 in our bank account. It was so stressful, but we kept going. We worked really, really hard, didn't give up, but made that decision to believe, right? To believe. And eventually every single no turned into a yes. All of the beauty retailers, all of the department stores, and It Cosmetics grew to over $1 billion company with millions of customers. And here's the thing is oh my gosh, if I could go back in time to all those nights I was crying myself to sleep, it's all of the things, this vision I had, we created 48 shades of concealer. We used women of every different age and size and skin challenge. And all of those department stores or experts or retailers that said, that's never going to work. Now they're all not only supporting our brand, but they're doing it themselves. It's yes. So it's just, when you have that calling on your heart and your intuition tells you it's spot on, you've got to trust that. You've got to trust that over everyone else's advice. And, here's the thing, that question that I always seem to get, how did you start in your living room with this idea? How did you overcome years of all those no's? Yes, I worked really hard. I did 100-hour weeks for 10 years. I do not recommend it. I worked really, really, really hard, and I just didn't quit. I didn't give up. But those two things, to me, they're basic. Work really hard and don't give up. That's just the price of admission, right? For any time you're going to go after a dream or become an entrepreneur, that is the price of admission. But to me, the most important thing I did, that one thing that changed everything, was I made the decision to believe that I could.
How great is that?
Oh
Jamie,
my gosh.
thank you.
Oh,
Isn't
good.
she fun? She's such a good friend and speaker at one of our events previously. And what a story to be able to turn all of that into $1 billion enterprise. Unbelievable. So, Season, why don't you give everybody the final word for today of what they need to do in order to be able to go out there and change their life, make something amazing happen? What would you recommend that they do while they're trying to decide if they should attend GoPro December 3rd through the 5th? No matter what you do, go to that link and check it out. But go ahead, Season. Why don't you close us out?
Yeah, I would, what I would just say is kind of tailing off of what Jamie shared. Do you believe that you can do this? Do you believe you deserve it? And one of the most powerful things that she shared is that you don't have to be an expert. You don't have to be qualified to step into this if this is where you're supposed to be and you have that gut feeling that she talked about, you've all had that. That's why you're here. You're paying attention because you've had the gut feeling. So now it's on you. And the only thing keeping you from stepping forward into action is trusting that gut feeling and saying yes, making the decision. I cannot even imagine what my life would look like, what my son's life would look like. And I talk to cancer moms every day, all day long. I don't get paid for it. I do it because I was blessed so much by somebody introducing these products to me. So I want you to think about that for just a minute. What opportunity, business or product, do you have that has the potential to change somebody's life like mine when I was in a hospital room with my baby, didn't know if he was going to live? And thank God the person that brought them into the hospital room wasn't afraid of what I would think. And they weren't afraid that that I would think they were in an MLM or whatever. Thank God they didn't listen to that. And they trusted their gut. And they said, you know what? She needs this. I'm going to bring this up to her. And if they didn't, I don't even want to think about where I'd be, where my son would be, and where the thousands of cancer families that we've been able to serve would be. So don't let yourself get in the way.
Love that so much. Listen, for those asking for replay, all you have to do is go back to wherever you're watching this, whether on Facebook or on YouTube, and you'll be able to access the replay. Watch as many times as you'd like. For those who already have your ticket, I can't wait to see you at GoPro. Those of you who are considering getting a ticket,
you got to get there.
Highly encourage you to do it. It's going to help you an awful lot. So that's our message for today. I'll be back tomorrow, but everybody throw Season some love. And if you think somebody else would get value from this message, either tag them in the comments or share this message with your group or your team or your friends and let them get some value as well. Everybody have a great day. See you next time. Talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.